Shmups. Steam has them, I bought them, let's talk about them. It's A Skeleton Spooky Steam Shoot 'em Up Smorgasbord 2. Happy Halloween. And be sure to stick around to the end. I'm saving my favorite for last, and you're not going to want to miss that. ZeroRanger. Let's start with a game that, judging by the comments I've gotten telling me to play it, apparently it's hot shit or something. Well, ZeroRanger, I've been around the shmup block a few times. I've danced the shmup dance before. Let's see what you've got.
2 hours later.
Holy shit. ZeroRanger was developed by System Erasure, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but there is stuff in this game that I don't want to spoil. This is a shmup, I shouldn't have to say that. Like here I was just playing it like any other shmup when out of nowhere I'm handed an entirely new playstyle. Now that's cool. Frankly, I'm smitten with ZeroRanger. It's immaculate. The graphics are intricately designed and easy to follow. It doesn't have the problem of enemy bullets getting lost in the chaos like some other shmups have. It's challenging while still being accessible. The gameplay has plenty of depth and options for a shmup, such as this little area with destructible blocks in the way. Sure, you could destroy the blocks yourself, or you could get out of the way of this oncoming line of enemies and let them do it for you. Hang on, is that an R-Type? And hey, that's Vic Viper from Gradius. I did not expect to see homages like that. And the music is really, really good. Every time that title screen pops up, I get goosebumps. Just pumps me up, man. Just like this opening cinematic. This is truly a shmup that goes above and beyond in terms of presentation. Really, ZeroRanger deserves a full-length review, and it probably will get one eventually, but for now we gotta move on. Don't miss out on ZeroRanger, it is one of the best. And hey, since they were so much fun the first time, let's bring back difficulty ratings. ZeroRanger gets a difficulty rating of...
Judgement Silversword Resurrection.
Man, talk about a poor first impression with this one. Judgement Silversword Resurrection was developed by Cute, and was originally a title for the WonderSwan Color, a console that I couldn't tell you much about except that it was a Japanese handheld gaming device made by Bandai. I'm sure Judgement Silversword was much more impressive on the WonderSwan, but here on Steam, I just find it kinda dull. You get 2 games in this package, Judgement Silversword and Cardinal Sins. The latter of which I wound up enjoying more thanks to the better variety in gameplay. But in Silversword, the level music doesn't even change until the 21st area, and that means aside from boss fights, you're stuck with... That's the bad first impression I was talking about. If there's something I can't stand in a shmup, it's weak or repetitive music. It's not all bad though. Things do spice up a bit in Silversword once you get past the tedious opening areas, and Cardinal Sins is a more varied experience that actually caught me by surprise during this one phase where things went quiet and took on a sepia tone. Plus, it's only $5 on Steam. It's a decent enough game, I just have personal issues that keep me from enjoying it to the fullest. Difficulty rating of...
Trouble Witch's Origin.
Time for one of them Japanesey games. Hey, it's not my fault that some of the best shmups come from the minds of huge weebs. Trouble Witches is one of 2 games that I'll be talking about, developed by Studio Siesta. I like this one. I always appreciate when a shmup gives you a reason to take your thumb off the fire button, and Trouble Witches does so by drawing every coin on the screen to your character. These coins can be spent in the pumpkin shop for power-ups and stat boosts. Aw, ain't she cute? Just gonna pat her on the head and... Whoops! You also get a barrier field that stays in place and turns some enemy bullets into coins while slowing down others. I didn't realize until the later levels just how required this ability is. Things get downright frenzied around the end of the game. Thankfully, the MP bar that it draws from regenerates very quickly. It's a pretty fun game for when you want something colorful and lighthearted. Difficulty rating of...
The Hurricane of the Varstray, Collateral Hazard.
Jesus, that title is a friggin' mess. Hurricane of the Varstray is the other game by Studio Siesta, and it's all spectacle and little substance. Destroy enemies to fill up this baryon laser meter, and collect a bunch of stars while firing it to fill up the Grabuster meter, which activates after emptying the laser meter and turns you into an invincible black hole with a massively increased movement speed. Repeating this cycle over and over creates gaps in the gameplay, where you aren't really playing a game, you're just moving a sprite around the screen without any challenge or thought. Still a fun game with some decent music, but it gets pretty samey about halfway through its 12 stages. The bosses are uninspired, although you do get these red bars that show the health of their individual parts. Don't think I've seen that in a shmup before. In the world of shmups, I'd call this one a mindless beat 'em up. Just turn off your brain and enjoy the spectacle for a while. Difficulty rating of...
That was horseshit!
Super Hydorah.
I'm not sure who exactly developed this one since there are 3 names on the Steam store page. Super Hydorah is one of those slow-moving sideways shmups like R-Type or Gradius, and over the years I've realized I'm just not very fond of this style of shmup. The risk of dying and losing the power-ups you've been building up always gets to my head and stresses me out. Thankfully, this game doesn't have that problem. It uses a different power-up system by collecting these red and green orbs to level up your primary weapon or bombs respectively, of which you choose before each level, unlocking more as you progress. Mercifully, there's also a rookie mode, which gives you 3 hits before losing a life. Hey, if I gotta be called a rookie in order to enjoy this kind of game, I will gladly take the option. Super Hydorah also has one of the most threatening boss fights I've ever seen. Rocks. It's just rocks.
Oh my god!
A very well made and solid game. Difficulty rating of...
Pawarumi.
Oh yeah, this one kicks ass. Pawarumi was developed by Manufacturer 43, whom I can only assume is a team made up of ancient Aztecs judging by the aesthetic they went for. You get 3 different colored attacks that are bound to 3 face buttons, and a super attack. In order to fill up your shield and super gauges, you have to understand the boost, crush, and drain systems. Say you fire your blue laser. The colors of the UI at the bottom of the screen will change to indicate which color enemies will fill which meter when you kill them with said laser. In this case, killing blue enemies will refill the shield gauge, killing red the super gauge, and will deal extra damage against green enemies instead of filling a gauge, as shown here in the bottom middle. If that's too much to process, just attack enemies with the same colored weapon to boost your shields, and you'll be fine. I really started to appreciate Pawarumi's elegant and unique approach to this genre once I understood the system, though it can feel a bit slow-paced and too easy at some points. The boss fights are consistently interesting, and the music is pretty good too, going for this Aztec rock kind of vibe. Excellent game, I highly recommend it. Difficulty rating of... Yeah, it's really not that hard.
Shmups Skill Test.
Developed by Triangle Service, Shmups Skill Test is a highly scientific shmup aptitude measuring device made by real shmup scientists in lab coats. Yeah, no. I'd compare it more to WarioWare if anything. You play a bunch of mini challenges, some of which are annoying or beginner's traps. Seriously, just fuck any challenge that involves button mashing. Have any game devs considered that maybe the reason why repeatedly mashing a button on an arcade cabinet was okay is because they're designed to take the beating, and that it's much easier to mash quickly with your hand in that position? No more button mashing in video games, please. Thank God those Metal Slug Steam ports have a rapid fire option. Anyway, you'll get a performance rating after a playthrough that compares you to the average of other players, and measures your gamer age. Apparently my gamer age is 24.
Is this good or bad?
Shmups skill test. Buy it on sale if you must, but only on sale, and only as a novelty. Difficulty rating of
Skyforce Reloaded.
Here's a shmup about getting strunk. Skyforce Reloaded was developed by Infinite Dreams, and is all about that slow and steady rise to a power level that will make your starting ship look utterly pathetic. Collect those currency stars so you can spend them on a large selection of upgrades. And once you use your newfound power to complete all the challenges on a certain level, play through the level again on the unlocked harder difficulties with even more challenges. Completing these is how you progress to new levels, just like Mario 64. I really like this game. It's not the most challenging or stimulating shmup I've played, but collecting those stars and unlocking stuff like new ships and technicians is very cathartic. The music's not bad, but it did get a bit old after a while. I eventually turned it off and started playing Touhou music instead. Skyforce Reloaded goes on sale for pretty cheap, so I definitely recommend keeping an eye out for it. Difficulty rating of
Remote Life.
That thing I said about not really liking these slow-moving Gradius-style side-scrollers? Well, I'm sorry to say, but I am not a big fan of Remote Life, which was developed by Next Game Level. That's not to say I dislike it entirely. Holy crap, is this one of the most stylish shmups I've ever seen. These art assets are fetishistically well designed, and the story hooks you right from the start.
Wait. I can see something above my ship.
That is actually terrifying. And the first proper level hits you with this really sick dubstep theme that really got me hyped up. It feels like it's supposed to make the player feel in control of the situation, but as you progress deeper into the hive, you quickly discover that is not the case. I felt like I had a real hidden gem on my hands, but then the problems started cropping up. Like the pace being painfully, agonizingly slow, and being killed by enemies that pop out of places that I can hardly see. And most enemies can move right through walls where your weapons can't reach, which is bullshit since if even the tiniest pixel of my ship even grazes a wall, I lose a life. And check this out. How was I supposed to know that guy was going to show up? See, that's the problem with this style of shmup. You have to endure long levels for extended periods of time while being surrounded by death. And if you're anything like me, eventually your focus is gonna slip and you're gonna make mistakes, or just get fucked over. I'm also not big on the twin stick control style. I really appreciate the recommendation, Papa Insomnio, but unfortunately Remote Life just isn't for me. Difficulty rating of
What the fuck? Thanks, Carl. You motherfucker.
Touhou Makuka Sai Fantastic Danmaku Festival 2.
You often hear about soulless Chinese knockoff games that leech off the popularity of the original property. But what if I told you that this Chinese fan game was made with passion and respect for the source material? Trust me, you don't make a game like this purely as a cash grab. Fantastic Danmaku Festival 2 was developed by this company, and it's basically a reimagining of Perfect Cherry Blossom, the 7th official game in the Touhou series, with a new character designs, and a new soundtrack with half remade old tracks and half new tracks. I've never put much stock in Touhou fan games, but once I saw the positive reviews on this one, I figured I'd give it a chance. I'm glad I did, it's really good, although I did almost refund it due to controller issues. If you're using a DualShock 4, go to the community controller options and you should see my setup there. You're welcome. How can I describe this without getting carried away? Fantastic Danmaku Festival 2, it just nails that Touhou atmosphere. Check out the start of the first level. Quite frankly, it's beautiful. And oh my god, stage 4 is just breathtaking. Hey, I thought I was playing Touhou, not Nekopara. Not much else to say, really. If you've played a Touhou game, then you'll know what to expect here. And if you've never even heard of Touhou, well, some of the official games have been added to Steam. Give them a try sometime. I recommend Subterranean Animism, my favorite in the series. As for this game, difficulty rating of... Here's a story-focused, roguelite, boss rush shmup that'll hit you right in the feels. The Void Reigns Upon Her Heart is currently being developed by Vasara Games, and is slated for release from Early Access in 2021. You play as a flightless Zeradin, who's been stuck in a cave for a long time due to hordes of monsters and a mysterious rainfall. She eventually learns that she can reach out to the monsters with her heart, and assault them with love until they submit in a violent friendliness explosion. Is that what the Doomslayer has been doing this whole time? Do this for 9 or so boss fights, collecting power-up rewards after each encounter, with harder fights generally offering higher value rewards, culminating in a final boss that'll change as you play the main story mode multiple times. My only complaint is that sometimes you'll get screwed over on the rewards and start falling behind in terms of damage, causing fights to take a lot longer than they should. Gotta say, The Void Reigns is a very unique and intriguing take on the shmup genre. You can tell that Angel Polanco has a lot of passion for this project. You might say that this game has a lot of heart. Alright, enough with the sappy stuff. Time to get back to some balls to the wall shmup action. Difficulty rating of...
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Super Galaxy Squadron EX Turbo.
Here's a shmup developed by Sinset and published by New Blood, the bomb-ass team behind Dusk. Now I'm really interested. It's a pretty solid game, the most standout feature being the roster of 17 ships to choose from, each with their own stats and attack styles. I like this ship with the flamethrower. For another shmup with a satisfying flamethrower, play Gun Knack on NES. You can change ships between levels, and I really appreciate that. Gave me the chance to try out the other ships without having to restart the game. That's smart design. Not much to say about the gameplay. What you see is what you get. Though I do have a problem with the time slow ability, or as I like to call it, the tank the frame rate button. Sorry, but this just doesn't feel very well implemented. The transition from smooth gameplay to a choppy frame rate messes with my eyes, and I'm pretty sure there's also a small delay between the button press and the slowdown activating. Nothing game breaking, just something that took some getting used to. Nick Clinkscales. This guy comes straight out of a D&D campaign or what? Really solid game, just not particularly remarkable. I recommend getting it on sale sometime. Difficulty rating of...
Send shivers down your spine.
Caladrius Blaze.
Looks like we're overdue for another dose of Japanese. Caladrius Blaze was developed by Moscow, the same company behind Raiden 4 Overkill, one of the games I talked about in my previous Team Shmups video. Oh, come on, is that necessary? That's Japan for you. Thankfully, you can turn it off in the options. I'm no prude, but there's a time and a place, and shmups are neither of those. You could spend a lot of time with Caladrius Blaze before exhausting all your options for gameplay. You get a decent roster of characters, each with a unique basic attack, and 3 special attack options that can be leveled up between stages. Say you really like a certain special attack. You can just dump all of your upgrade points into it and have one really strong special. It's a cool game. The levels are varied and the boss fights are all unique and interesting, though you might want to turn down the voice volume in the options. Difficulty rating of...
Seal your doom tonight.
Tenta Shooter.
Ah, fuck it, might as well get the next awkward Japanese game out of the way. Tenta Shooter was developed by Rakugaki Games. And before I say anything else, I really must warn you, this is one of those games. What the fuck is this? Now, thankfully, when I play Tenta Shooter, I'm not bombarded by unwanted imagery, for the most part, because I'm pretty sure you have to download some R-rated mod to unlock that stuff. R-rated content aside, this is actually a really good game. There are plenty of options to vary up your experience, from a basic arcade mode to a mode that lets you upgrade your abilities. Lots of difficulty options too. Super hard, huh? Yeah, I'll bet. The main gameplay mechanic that sets this apart from other shmups is this little area around your character. Get close to a bunch of bullets and hit the counter button to send them back at your enemies, earning a bunch of points in the process. It also has an extremely short cooldown, so don't be afraid to use it liberally. Oh no, you guys, I didn't get all the tentacle tokens. I gotta say, I expected much less from Tenta Shooter. It's a really solid game that I recommend.
Oh yeah!
I take back everything I just said. Difficulty rating of...
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Damn, I really gotta wash the bad taste of those last couple games out of my mouth. Let's play something classy next.
Special ready.
What the fuck am I doing with my life? Deep Space Waifu World was developed by Neko Climax Studios. And I swear I have no idea how these games keep ending up in my Steam library, guys. I think Neko Climax is sneaking them in there to try to make me look bad. I briefly talked about the original game in my first Steam Shmups video, but this one isn't much of an improvement over that. In fact, I'd say it's just more the same. Buy it cheap if you must, just know that you'll be buying a joke, not a compelling shoot 'em up. Difficulty rating of...
We're so sorry, skeletons. Just
Revolver 360 Reactor.
Here's a mind-bending shmup that'll force you to think in strange new ways. Revolver 360 was developed by Cross Eaglet and gives you the ability to rotate 360 degrees to both dodge bullets and attack enemies in the background. It's a very score-focused game, giving you the most points when you line up enemies and take them out with a single laser shot. The same can be done to enemy bullets. I would gripe about the boring color scheme, but seeing enemies and their bullets has never been easier than in Revolver 360, although it won't be long until the game starts putting you in situations where the only way to dodge an attack is to utilize the rotate function, and that can take some time getting used to. Hell, I'm still getting used to it. Thankfully, you have a very generous life meter. Personally, I prefer more standard shmup experiences, but I can't deny the creativity and skilled design that makes Revolver 360 stand out as something special. It's a good game. Give it a try sometime. Difficulty rating of...
you're so misunderstood.
1917 The Alien Invasion.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little uncomfortable playing this one. I didn't pay much attention in history class, but I'm pretty sure the Germans were the bad guys in World War I. Anyway, 1917 The Alien Invasion was developed by Andrade Games. And I'm sorry, but it's just not very good. It's just kinda clunky and unpolished. There is some cool stuff, like this boss fight against Chessmaster Uberlegener Herscherbach. Or this one, Dragon of a Lying Whore. Okay, I will literally have a stroke if I try pronouncing that. 1917 The Alien Invasion is only 99 cents on Steam, so it's hardly much of a commitment to add to your collection. Difficulty rating of...
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Vasara Collection.
Gotta admit, I had never heard of any of the Vasara games. Unsurprising, since it turns out they were never released outside of Japanese arcades. They didn't even get a console port. That's kinda strange. Vasara 1 and 2 were developed by Visco, while Vasara Collection was handled by Cubite Interactive. I know I said Tenta Shooter and Caladrius Blaze were extremely Japanese, but Vasara? Now this is Japanese. Most of the artwork looks like it wouldn't be out of place in a Shonen Jump manga. Incidentally, Visco is a Brazilian company. How do you like that? First we saw American culture portrayed by a Japanese company in my Metal Wolf Chaos review, and now this. What an exotic channel I have. Vasara 1 and 2's gameplay is very satisfying. In 1, you get bombs and a special attack that has to be charged with these crystals. In 2, they did away with bombs and spiced up the special meter so that you can bank multiple uses. The most interesting mechanic of Vasara is the ability to charge up a melee attack that destroys bullets along with enemies. It's also your primary means of racking up points if that's your thing. It's a really satisfying and fun mechanic. I wish more shmups would have something like this. Also, the starting stage will be different depending on which character you pick. Man, these games are actually freaking awesome. There's some really smart design choices here. I haven't mentioned it yet, but there's actually a third game in this package, Vasara Timeless, and I'm convinced that Visco had nothing to do with this one, because unlike Vasara 1 and 2, Vasara Timeless is slow, easy, and mind-numbingly boring, at least when I played by myself. It's designed to allow 4 players at once, and I'm sure it's more enjoyable like that, but Jamestown Plus handled the whole can't accommodate multiple players but is still satisfying to play alone thing a lot better. By the way, Jamestown Plus is available on Steam now. I gave that game a review of its own. That's how good it is. At least the music in Timeless is pretty good. Every time I hear this track, I get images of orange jumpsuits in my brain. Leave a comment if these enemies remind you of Red Bull. Vasara 1 and 2 are well worth the price of admission for this package, and if you've got some shmup enthusiast friends that want something to play while inebriated, then the addition of Vasara Timeless will make this a no-brainer. Difficulty rating of
Out startling shrilly screams.
Blue Revolver.
Could ever be Angel.
Blue Revolver was developed by Stellar Circle, and I don't have much to say about this one other than it's really good. Yeah, it doesn't do anything particularly groundbreaking, it's just a very polished shmup with lots of options for gameplay and cute girls. She's supposed to look like a moth, right? Every time I see this character, I think moth. Besides being very polished, it's also very challenging. You don't get continues right off the bat in this game. You have to earn those. Gotta respect a game that forces you to get better to experience everything that it has to offer. The music is really good too. This song isn't actually from the game though, I just like it and I thought it fit. Blue Revolver. It's an excellent addition to any Shmup fan's collection, and I recommend it. Don't you surrender, Angel Blue. If I saw this next shmup in a bar, I would buy it a drink. My friends, this is Jets and Guns 2. Explosions, guns, customization, an amazing soundtrack. These are a few of my favorite things. And Jets and Guns 2, a game from Czech developer Rake and Grass, has all of these and so much more. It swiftly became my new favorite shmup. Full disclosure, I reached out to Rake and Grass and they were kind enough to provide me with a Steam key for this video, so thank you very much for that. Just so you know, if I had known right off the bat how amazing this game was, I would have just bought it myself. I have never played a shmup that offered this degree of customization before, and I'm only talking about gameplay. I didn't discover till later that there's an extensive customization menu for your ship as well. Check out this beast that I went with. You can equip up to 4 primary weapons to your ship, 3 front-facing and 1 backwards-facing. Add to that missiles, bombs, and 2 ultimate attacks that activate by pressing either the left or right triggers. There are also gems that give your primary weapons special properties, along with 6 equipment slots that can change up your playstyle tremendously, like increasing your damage as your heat gauge gets higher, or adding rotating defensive nodes that can later become proper options that multiply your damage output to an insane degree. Almost all of the stuff added to your ship can become even more powerful by spending money to upgrade them. Even the little thumbnails for the weapons change in appearance as you do this. Now that's attention to detail. All of this freedom to choose your methods of destruction would be for nothing if the levels did not give you much to destruct. Jets and Guns 2 does not have that problem. In this game, everything explodes. I absolutely adore these graphics. Reminds me a lot of Jazz Jackrabbit 2. Plus there's a lot of visual humor if you pay attention. Don't do it, Anakin. He has the high ground. Not every level ends with a boss fight, but the ones that do are all very unique, with tons of parts that can be individually blown off. My personal favorite is the boss of the beer dimension, the Beer Panzer. It's a bit of an endurance, but man is it fun. I dare you to drink a beer before playing this level. I mean an in-game beer, not actual beer.
¿Por qué no los dos?
The soundtrack. Hoo boy.
It's awesome.
You get 20 tracks of head-bopping rock goodness from a Swedish band called Machine Supremacy. I love every single track in this game. I love it so much that I bought it on Bandcamp, and you should too. It's not just mindless rock for the sake of rock. There are some really good symphonic melodies in here. While tracks like Parallax and Cargo Bay Goodbye are way up there for me, gotta go with the first level theme, Brutalisphere, as my favorite track.
Oh, this track fucks!
Ooh, hope I didn't fuck up my voice. Just a little tip, when you first start the game, lower your sound effects a bit, or else you're gonna get your ears blown out by... I love this game. It offers so much for such a low price on Steam that I can't think of anything bad to say about it. I guess the closest thing to a negative I could come up with is that if you're smart and you put together a really strong build, you'll start destroying levels without even trying. There's two reasons why I don't think that's a problem. One, I love a good power trip, and two, this game will turn you into a whiny little bitch once you get to the harder difficulties, so enjoy the free ride while you can. Personally, I want to try to get into at least the top 100 on the leaderboards. Jets and Guns 2 is a platinum standard shmup that you can get on Steam or the Switch if you prefer. Please buy it. You won't be disappointed, I promise. I give it a difficulty rating of... Well folks, we sure had a good time today. Had some laughs, played some great games, saw some unnecessary titties, and got our balls blown off by awesomeness a couple times. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves as much as I did. If you did, well, it would be mighty appreciated if you share this video around a bit. Giving it a like or a comment would be nice too. And if you'd like to hang out together here again on the Bone Zone, I recommend subscribing for more videos on really good games that you may have never heard of. I'm also on Twitter. This video took a while, so I'll be taking a short break. Should hopefully have another video out for you before the end of the year. What will that video be? Well, I'll leave you with a little hint, but until next time, this is A Skeleton signing out.